Can you feel it? Yes, something big is coming. That's why you come to this channel. You feel it too. You see it in the news. You want to hear the news that's showing you what is coming and how fast it's going to get here. We're going to talk real practically. We're going to talk about some of the major trends of what's happening here. But then I am going to speak very specifically about the bare minimum that you should have covered now. And I'm going to strip away all your excuses, okay? So, and I'm going to tell you where I'm going. Where I'm going to end up by the end of this video, I'm going to be talking about you having a 1-year supply of food. And I'm going to show you how to do it so cheap. And there's going to be literally no excuse. If you're like, I don't have any money, friend, I will address that. I will totally address that. I've been there. I know what you're talking about. I've had some rough patches in my life where I was really, really skimping things, okay? So I'll talk to you about your budget and about the cheapest possible way to get 1-year food supply stocked up, exactly how much it will cost you, where to go. It doesn't. This channel makes nothing off that, okay? This is about getting you prepared. And then I'll give you some, if you don't have time, I'll give you a more expensive option that's just turnkey. You just press the button and poof, the food will show up, okay? But the Peruvian presidential candidate was assassinated. Guy walked up to him, pow, 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 and another major political candidate in the world dies or gets silenced. Just a couple days before, Imran Khan, the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, got arrested right before the election, his name taken off the ballot. Do I even need to go into what's going on in the United States of America? I mean, you all know what's happening with the witch hunt and everything like that's going on. They are trying to take the wrong, quote unquote, candidates off the ballots. You're allowed to vote for whoever you want, just not the wrong people. You understand what's going on? Do you see where it's going? At what point do the people rise up like they are in Peru? At what point do the people rise up like they did in France? At what point do the people rise up like they tried to in Canada? And let's just go around the world, one place after the next. Governments are terrified of their own people because the governments are doing things that the people absolutely 100% are against. Let's look at the financial markets. We have all these corporations, all these businesses out there going, yay, we have 5.5% interest rates from the Federal Reserve. Wait, isn't that supposed to destroy your business? We know how much debt your business has over there. If you were paying 5.5% interest, which you can't get as a business, right? Investment grade, you're paying at least 7%. And if you're high yield or junk bonds, you're a risky business, which doesn't mean that your business is about to collapse. It just means, you know, they're going to charge you a higher rate. You're looking 10+%. These companies can't sustain those kind of interest rates. They will literally collapse. Well, how are they making it through this? How are they not collapsing right now? Well, they're collectively holding their breath. Like literally, they're just not borrowing any money. Since they started really hiking interest rates, companies just aren't issuing any new bonds. They're not taking out any loans. When they take out loans, they make sure they secure it with collateral, like buildings, facilities, machinery, that kind of stuff. They're making sure they attach a hard asset to that so that they can get really low interest rates. That's what they're doing, and they're just not taking out loans. The problem is they're running out of money. They're collectively holding their breath, and right now, these companies are turning blue. When they start having to cut seriously, they're going to start laying off people like nobody's business. They're going to be laying off people faster than they did in 2008. Friends, it's all in the numbers. Like, don't tell me it's any differently. These corporations, they're expecting a market crash, and then they're expecting the Federal Reserve to swoop in and chop those interest rates down. And so they're not going to be caught dead borrowing money right now. They're waiting for that market crash, and yeah, what did I say? Market crash? That's what they're assuming is going to happen? And yet, what are they telling you? Shove all your money into the market. Buy up all those stocks. Buy up all the bonds that are going to become worthless shortly. Friends, this is where we are, okay? All the corporations that are trying to sell you their stock are waiting for the market to crash. Are you ready for these type of things? Because this is what's happening. I mean, everything is going sideways around the world, and yet everyone's walking around pretending everything's okay. The corporations are pretending everything is okay. The governments are pretending everything's okay. All the people walking around, they're taking their cue from those guys, and okay, well, everything must be fine. They're not fine. Go to your supermarket and look around. Are things fine? Look at the prices. No, they're not fine. So the question is, are you taking serious steps to do something about it? And like I said, I'm going to walk you through some numbers here. I'm an accountant. Welcome to the Poplar Report, right? I nerd out on numbers. And so I'm going to walk you through some numbers. What does 1 year's food supply look like? I'm not talking about fancy food. I'll talk about that in a couple minutes, okay? If you want to just buy a packet of food, buckets of food from a producer, everything like that, we partner with My Patriot Supply. They're the cheapest per calorie out there of any of the major bucket companies. Their food tastes good. It's not, you can get higher quality stuff. You can get the organic, beef that has been massaged by Japanese masseuses or whatever like that, freeze dried. You can get all that stuff, okay? Go for it. My Patriot Supply, it's kind of middle of the level, okay? I'm going to talk to you now about bottom of the level. I'm going to talk to you about when you say you don't have a year's food supply in your home. Here's the answer. Bottom of the barrel, $279.15 for 1 year's food supply for one person. Whoa, Steve, that's a lot of money. How much do you spend on food a month? Let's get honest. Let's get honest. How much do you spend on food for a month? If you don't have 1 year's food supply and you just clenched up at $279.15 for a year's food, I can almost guarantee you don't track your numbers. You don't track how much you spend on food. That's like less than $10 a day. Okay? If that was for a month, right? You probably a lot of people spend $5 to $10 per day per person on food. That's like average for Americans. Now, I don't spend that much because I'm a cheapskate and, I protect my budget and everything like that. So I don't spend that much, but many Americans do spend about that much. So what I'm going to say is, this is the goal, and you don't need to get all this at once, but over the next couple months, you should really set the goal at acquiring 300 pounds of rice, 150 pounds of pinto beans. Now, that's the bare minimum. I'm going to recommend a few more things here. This will bring the price up just a little bit, but it'll make it taste way better, I promise. 5 gallons of vegetable oil. Steve, vegetable oil will kill you. Okay, fine. Get your olive oil. It'll cost more. I'm talking about the cheap. You can upgrade any of these. If you're like, white rice? Ugh, I want some basmati rice. Fine. If you have the money, then just upgrade it. You're an adult. Go do what you want to do, okay? Rice, 300 pounds. Beans, 150 pounds. Oil, 5 gallons. So that can be any kind of oil. Vegetable oil is the cheapest. Vegetable oil and canola oil are the cheapest. Are they good for your heart? No, they're not. You want to get, something cool, great. And I'd recommend 14 pounds of chicken bouillon. Walmart sells these 7-pound jugs of chicken bouillon. Is that good for you? Friend, we're talking about keeping you alive, giving you that base of calories, and then you can eat whatever when you're cooking this up over the course of the year, I expect you to go outside and pick dandelion leaves. Go pick dandelion shoots. Go foraging for other edibles that are in your area. Pick greens that are edible and eat them with your food, right? Okay, go forage and try to get some meat. Try to do whatever you can. But this is an insurance policy, folks. This isn't like the best of the world, you know, where you're kind of like rooting for the world to kind of burn because you have just an amazing setup. If you're the dude in the bunker or the dudette in the bunker with everything squared away, fully off grid, homesteading and fully growing all your own food, cool. Then this isn't for you, okay? But most people still have to go to the grocery store to get their food. And what happens when you can't go to the grocery store? What happens when you don't have any money to go to the grocery store? What happens when you go to the grocery store, they have food, but you can't afford it because it's so expensive. So, what I just laid out, rice and beans, 300 pounds of rice at walmart.com. You can get these delivered to your door in a lot of places, or you can go pick them up at a Walmart. Everyone lives near a Walmart in the United States. $167.10 for 300 pounds of rice. Can you swing that? If you don't have 1 year's food supply, you need to find a way to swing that, and soon. Pinto beans. I don't like pinto beans. Okay, go get what you want. But rice and some sort of beans creates a complete protein. This will keep you alive, all right? Pinto beans or whatever bean, if you want to get black beans, if you want to get something tastier, cool. 150 pounds of them though. That's $112.05 for the whole year. So if you just get rice and beans, you're looking at $279.15 for 2,000 calories per day for 365 days for one person. If you want to store those properly, you're going to want to make an investment in some buckets. You're going to want to make an investment in Mylar bags for all that and some oxygen absorbers. Okay, that's the next step. Just get the food in your house and then worry about repackaging, okay? Because if you just get the rice and the beans and you just like stack them, as long as an animal doesn't get into them and you don't have like super high humidity where you are, they'll last for well over a year just without any change of the packaging, okay? So you can get away with that for a little bit. Like I said, I suggest adding 5 gallons of vegetable oil. It will make it taste so much better. Your brain kind of needs the fats. And I was assuming that you could scrounge that, you know, otherwise, but better to have it on hand. Now, the oil will not last indefinitely, but counter to what all the internet experts will say, if you store it properly, like you don't pop the seal on it, you can get about 10 years out of vegetable oil before it starts going rancid. And if you're in good conditions, it can go up to 15 years. I know no one out there will say that, but it's the truth. I got oil downstairs in my basement. It's that old. I'm using it. I'm not dead yet. It doesn't smell rancid. So, you know, everyone who doesn't have any experience with 10 to 15-year-old vegetable oil or canola oil, you know, you can go take a hike, because what you're saying is just not true, because I can pull out a bottle and show you. All right? Chicken bouillon. I mean, that stuff lasts forever as long as you don't pop it open. It's just salt and that kind of stuff. It'll go rancid eventually too, but people get really excited about saying the word rancid. It just means it smells really bad. It's going to be hard. It's not going to give you as much nutrition, and you can just use it for something else. Rancid vegetable oil you can use for candles and for like lamps. You can use it for feeding animals and stuff like that. You can use it for other stuff, right? So my good rations with vegetable oil and chicken bouillon, you're looking at $355.31 for the full year. Let me break this down by month so you understand what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about on the cheap rations, rice and beans, $23 and $26 per month. I guarantee you spend more money on food at your home than $23.26 per month. I guarantee it. So Steve, I don't have enough money to store up all that. Well then, lower your quality of living right now, down significantly, work some rice and beans into your into your menu, right? And use the saved money to buy more rice and beans so you can get up to a year's supply. If you cut your food budget down to $23.26, I guarantee you could stock up a year's supplies very quickly. Almost everyone in America could do so. Now, if you live for the good rations where you use vegetable oil and chicken bouillon in the beans and rice, and you don't even need to do it every meal. What happens if you substitute one meal per week? What happens if you substitute like a few meals per week? What happens if you just take your food budget and just go, let's just eat a little cheaper. Let's not go out to eat. You can probably save quite a bit of money on your food budget. Not to mention there's so many other places where we spend money that we don't need to spend money. Entertainment, okay? If you don't have a year's food supply stocked up and you're spending money on entertainment, if you're eating out and you're just spending a lot of money on food, over over $100 or $200 per month on food, yet you don't have a year's food supply stocked up, you're making choices, okay? You're an adult. You can make choices all you want. But especially you who have been warned, when the crisis comes and you run out of food, and I'm going to have to decide who to help, I'm going to look out and realize that everyone made choices. Now, I understand that not everybody made informed choices. They were raised not to think about tomorrow. They were raised to assume that food's always going to be available, that the money was always going to be, falling off trees on them. But here's the simple fact. If you're not going to take care of you, then you really don't have anything to say about it when other people don't take care of you as well as you would want to be taken care of. Difficult times are coming. Difficult times are coming. Are you getting prepared? Are you taking things seriously? Steve, I have a year's food supply. I'm all set. Cool. Do you have food for your neighbor? Well, it's not my responsibility to prep for my neighbor. $355 so that your neighbor can eat well for a year, or one of your neighbors can eat well for a year. How much do you care about your neighbor? Okay? That's a question for you. You're spending money on all sorts of things. I get it. And you make choices, okay? You get to make choices. You do what you want to do. But in a crisis, when you see their family, your neighbors starving, really struggling, how much would you give to go back in time to now, maybe cut a little bit on your budget and start stocking a little bit extra for them? How much will you pay then in the crisis to get in the time machine and come back and make some different choices today? Tough times are coming. Most Americans have quite a bit extra to be able to put back if they budget things tight. I'm talking about go into depression mode mentality now so that you can stock up for difficult times to come in the future. If you humble yourself now, you will be able to do some amazing things. Now, like I said, we partner with My Patriot Supply, and the reason why we partner with them is because I looked around at all of them, I did my homework, and this is the cheapest, best option. There's other ones out there. There's some like super organic, super fancy ones that cost a lot of money. They're there, cool. I'm not really that kind of a guy. I think emergency food should be like basic, So if you want gourmet, mountain house type stuff, there's other places to do that. My Patriot Supply is good stuff. It hits you at 2,000 calories per day. It works out to being, they have a deal right now, 25% off a 3-month package, and you can get 4 3-month packages if you want. It works out to being right at about $200 a month for long-term food storage that you just get in a bucket, you just put it in the corner there, and it's there. It's safe, all ready to go. That's less than $10 a day. So what are you spending on food? Do you really feel like something's coming at you? Do you see something on the horizon coming at us? And do you have at least 1 year food supply stocked up for your home? Also, think about water, okay? Everyone will, there's already people in the comments like, why didn't you talk about water? Water's pretty basic in most areas of the country. If you're in a very dry area of the country, okay, you got to think a little more, and you got to think more about storing more water. I recommend just, do you have like, if you drink sodas, if you drink diet sodas, if you get the 2-liter bottles, just start saving the 2-liter bottles and just fill them up with tap water, okay? Just fill some up with tap water. Now, isn't that going to be great? No, but it's going to give you a little bit of a margin there, okay? And then make sure you have some clean 5-gallon buckets. And I'm stealing this from Southern Prepper 1. He's got so much good wisdom and tips and everything like that. And buy some clean, big umbrellas. Okay? And you just invert the, normally you hold the umbrella like this. You invert the umbrella so that it makes the 5-gallon bucket much wider, and it'll funnel all the water from the rain down to the tip, and make sure you punch a hole there so it drops into the bucket. Clean 5-gallon buckets, clean umbrellas, and every time it rains, you go out and you set up your little rain stills, okay? And you can collect a lot of drinking water that way. It's good to have like a tap on whatever your downspouts are so that you can save washing water for doing like, washing your hands, washing clothes, that kind of stuff, or showering or bathing. You can use the downspouts off your house for that kind of stuff, but use the buckets and the umbrellas, or you can use tarps if you really want to get serious about collecting a lot of rainwater, and you can collect a lot of drinking water that way. Most places in the United States, it rains quite a bit if you just capture it all. So if you're in those areas, do that. If you're in an area where it's really dry, you're going to have to work a little harder, and you're going to have to figure some things out about water storage. All right, do that as well. Again, it doesn't have to be expensive. 3 or 4 5-gallon buckets per person. You're talking like $20. You don't need water treatment if it's coming out of the sky, generally speaking. You don't. If you let it sit for a long time, then you might need some water treatment, chemicals or a Berkey or whatever like that. But just, do you have 5-gallon buckets? Do you have some umbrellas to capture rainwater? Do you have some clean tarps that have never been opened that you can capture water with? Do those things, okay? 1 year food supply on top of that. I'm not talking crazy talk. This is not super expensive. It's not super time consuming. Take these basic steps if you haven't already. And if you've already taken them, well then keep taking more steps, right? Get more prepared, because things are about to change, and they're not changing for the better. All right, folks, if you found this video to be useful or helpful, you might want to check out this other video right up here. If you want to go straight over to the My Patriot Supply site, you can click on that link right there. I'll take you right there. 25% off right now on the 3-month food supplies from My Patriot Supply. It's a good deal. It's the best deal that I could work out with them for us. There's the link right there. All right, thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.